Good morning. Welcome to Village in Motion. It's Dining Services Day today. Our call-in show with Chef Michael Ritt.
Hello.
And dietitian, registered dietitian Mary Smith. Good morning.
Good morning.
And before I forget it, I need to remind everyone it's a call-in show, and our telephone number is 703-663-3333. So if you have a question for either of our experts here, please call in. But meanwhile, which one of you would like to start? Michael?
I feel like events. We have a lot of events coming up.
Sure, let's talk about
Let's see what's going on
in dining. So, obviously 9/9 is Rosh Hashanah and Grandparents' Day. Also, the 7th and the 21st of this month, we have our famous farmers market. Knowles Produce is going to be here.
And that's located where?
Town Center. Now, there's a little change. The one coming up this week on the 7th is going to be held outside. And that's just because there's
on the patio outside
between
Town
the
Center.
bank and the store. And then the one on the 21st will be back inside.
Okay.
We are seeing that the residents enjoy it inside. Obviously, Knowles likes it inside, and they're seeing more foot traffic for obvious reasons. So
if you're looking for it on the 7th and you don't see it inside, remember that that day it's going to be outside.
Correct. So just keep an eye on that. On the 12th of this month is our, back again by popular demand, is our steak night. Mm-hmm. And that is going to be in all venues, independent living venues. That's Woodland Skies, Fireside, and the Jefferson. And we're going to be suspending signature dining for that evening, and there'll be menus, special menus for that night, obviously heavily loaded with steaks.
But it's not all steak.
No, there'll be going to be some other items on there, but it's mainly focused on the steaks. You also prime rib and tenderloins and some other steaks, but we're also, because we know not everybody is a meat eater, so we want to have a diverse menu.
Okay.
And
so if I'm a vegan person,
we're gonna have
I can find something to eat.
Vegan,
Vegan's different.
Vegan's a little different than
Okay, I
vegetarian.
don't know. Okay. So
Vegan, we'll try and work. We'll
if
work with
I'm
you,
not
but
a meat person, I can still find
there's
food.
going to be salmon or some kind of seafood
Okay.
on there. Maybe some poultry, but also vegetarian options. So we're going to have, options. I know some people are like, well, and I know that also Jefferson will be doing lamb chops.
Okay.
So I'll be putting my seat out in front of Jefferson the day before.
There will be other choices.
Correct. It's
Okay.
not going to just be strictly, well, I don't like red meat. Well, there's going to be other options, and we know that.
Good.
On the 18th is Yom Kippur. We'll have, for breakfast, we'll have lox and bagels as a special.
Okay.
In the dining room. And Woodland Skies and Fireside and Jefferson will have some items on the menu for that as well. On the 10th, coming up next week, in Village Square Theater from 2 to 3 is our focus group.
Now, explain what that is for those who haven't been there.
So we have town halls. Town halls is more specifically driven to, and we have some town halls coming up. We have on the 18th, we call it Town Center. Both Fireside and Cafe will have their town halls.
And that's just talking about those venues.
Right. And Fireside is from 10 to 11. Cafe will be right after 11 to 12. And that is specifically driven for those venues. If you have questions about whatever kind of operations in that venues. Focus group looks at the whole department as a whole.
Okay.
I'm sure people are going to ask questions about what's coming up with the department. What are our vision for 2019? Big picture stuff.
Okay.
And that's what the focus groups are for.
So come to the theater between 2 and 3.
Correct.
On the 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
And they're very interesting.
Yeah, and I think it becomes like almost an open forum. We do our presentation, we talk about what's coming up, what we're doing, and then it's pretty much open mic. And, it's not a large group, which tells me that either people just don't, are what it mainly tells me is people are content and happy with the program.
But bring your questions.
But yeah, if you have questions or concerns, listen, I've been saying this for over 6 years, that if you see myself or anyone from dining admin or any of the managers, and if you have a question, and I know it sounds corny, but I always tell people I don't know what I don't know. If you're going to just say, it's not a big deal, maybe it is a big deal. If you have a question, ask us.
That's right.
You see us walking,
Don't
ask us.
don't ask your neighbor about it. Don't grumble about it in the hallways. Bring it to
as-
the focus group
As
and
my
ask.
as my boss says, closed mouths don't get fed.
There you go. That's good.
So on the 14th next week, Woodland Skies will be closed for lunch because sales and marketing is having their annual fall expo.
Okay, let's stop
No
that.
problem.
Pause right there. We have a telephone call. Caller, may we have your question? Hello, telephone caller. Hello?
I think that means that
I think that sounded like a dial tone.
maybe we
Hello?
answered their question already.
Okay, go on about the expo.
So it's going to be the fall expo, and sales will have some purveyors here.
So Woodland Skies will be
Woodland
closed
Skies
for
will
lunch.
be closed for lunch.
So if you
and
like lunch that day, come on over to the cafe.
always. I know that's one of you. No, that's your favorite spot.
That's my favorite spot.
And then on the 20th, we're not going to talk about it. It's no
Oh,
big
the
deal.
20th is my favorite day.
It's National Pepperoni Pizza
Yes.
Day. I think you're going to do the grand tour.
I'm going to do the grand tour.
So in all the lobbies, please look either at on the Village Bridge, or if you look, Channel 6 will be running the scroll, or on the weekly menu, or up on the host stands. But each lobby will be doing a special treat celebrating National Pepperoni Pizza Day.
Looks good. Now we do have a telephone
No
call.
problem.
Caller, may we have your question? Caller, may we have your question? Okay, we're not getting our caller coming through. And I know there was a question that came up at the last focus group about why Hunter's Crossing is always from 2 to 3 o'clock for the treats, when we have treats. Do you remember what the answer to that was?
I think a lot of times it's just we go 1, 2, 3.
Well, no, the answer to it was that staff doesn't come in any
that
earlier in
too,
the day.
And it also goes 1, 2, 3. But also when you think that Fireside has staff in because they do lunch in the cafe,
right.
Woodland Skies has staff in because they do lunch, during the day. But Jefferson only does dinner, so the
Right.
staff's not in there till later in the day.
To fix that.
Hello.
Yes, may we have your question? May we have your question?
Hello.
Can you hear us? Control room, I don't think the caller is hearing us.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think she's
But
hearing us.
again, yes, it is a scheduling, but also when we lined up the times, it was 1, 2, 3, how the buildings went,
Yeah,
And as far as, well, why is Jefferson so late? Well, you're free to go to any building.
sure.
You want to get your pepperoni pizza early, go over to Fireside,
That's where it starts.
and then, wait a few hours and then go over and get another helping at Jefferson.
That's right.
So, we're not holding you to, where you eat is where you get your
Sure.
lobby treat.
You can travel around.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
On the 21st, again, we're doing our cookout, and that is, again, town center, outside between the bank and the store.
And that's really good. And you can use your flex meal for that if you wish.
Flex meal,
Or you can pay
resident
cash.
charge, or cash. And it's been really going well. We were really busy this last one.
Good picnic food.
Absolutely.
Yes, caller, can you hear us?
Third time's a charm, right?
Third time's a charm, we hope.
That's what they say.
Can you hear us? Okay, they're telling us no. Okay,
And just a couple more things. Obviously, on the 28th is our annual gala, and that's going to be held in Hunter's Crossing. So
Okay.
that day, Jefferson and the Bistro will be closed.
okay, on the 28th, the day of the gala, Jefferson and the Bistro will be closed.
Correct.
Okay,
And then the big thing we want to talk about is BCT.
what is BCT?
Building Community Trust. And we've done a few things around the community, and you've seen some of these T-shirts. So We have tabling events going on this Thursday, next
And what's
Thursday.
a tabling event?
Basically, just listening post. I guess it's the best thing.
It's a
You know,
listening post
strive
relative to staff.
Our motto is strive for 5. If we're not 5, tell us why. And these tables are going to be in Village Square, Town Center lobby on the 6th from 3:30 to 4:30, and then Garden Ridge and Jefferson lobbies on the 13th, 3:30
And if we're
to
not
4:30.
5, tell us why. Means
Right.
that if we're not 5 with 5 on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being if we're not doing wonderfully,
Tell us why.
we want
and-
you to tell us
and-
why.
And give us comments.
What can we do to
So,
be better?
yeah, on the 6th, we're going to be Woodland Skies again in Fireside, 3:30 to 4:30 in lobby. And then on the 13th, we're going to go to Garden Ridge and Jefferson again, 3:30 to 4:30. This 17th, we have our big pep rally. We're going to have live entertainment. We're going to have food and fun. It's going to be over at Hunter's Crossing in the Conference Center, and that's going to go from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and it's going to be a good time. You
So
know,
we've been through a week a couple of weeks ago, which was kind of a staff team building week relative to building community trust, and we're coming up now to a week which is a resident focused
yeah,
week.
it's like good old style pep rally.
Yeah.
You know, come on in. We're going to talk about what BCT is doing. You know, things that are coming up. The strive for 5. How can we?
How can we
if we're
do
not
better? 5 is
5,
the best.
Tell us why.
Well, so speaking of striving for 5, in our dining rooms, on our tables, we have
The new resident comment cards.
resident comment cards.
And it goes with the same scenario. You know, it's 1 through 5. There's, I think, not a lot of questions, basic questions, and we just, you know, the score 1 to 5.
And we encourage you to fill out those comment cards. Do the check marks on the front. 1 is the lowest, 5 is the highest.
Correct.
And if you'd like to give narrative comments, turn it over, right on the back. You
Absolutely.
have many lines to write on.
And then we have a form that we enter all this into, gives us our compounds it to an average score, and we go over that with the individual dining councils, with the resident dining council.
All of the
You know,
committees
we're very
read your
transparent.
cards.
It's
Oh,
very
yeah.
transparent, and it's you know, it's an actual. It's day to day. It's not, you know, every day there's going to be a report run. So you could be a 4.8 on Tuesday and a 4.3, you know, on Wednesday. You're like, okay, where
Where are
you
we
know,
going
and-
wrong?
And then you can isolate it. That's what it's great about this, is that you can isolate instead of having just all over the place and all over the board. You can isolate and say, okay, well, where did we slip?
And I really would encourage you, those of you who do carry out, we'd like for you to fill out those comment cards either. The comment cards aren't just for the people in the dining rooms. If you get your meal carry out, on your way, when you're going back to your apartment, stop and pick up a comment card and take it with you. And when you go home, fill out your comment card. Tell our dining services people how your carry out meal was. Was everything in there correctly? Did it taste good? If it was good, tell us so. If there was need for improvement, tell us that also. Those comment cards are not just for the people in the dining rooms. They're for the people that get carry out meals also.
Correct. And you know, the thing with the pep rally is it's replacing, because that's usually when you have the coffee with the exec.
Right.
So same location, same time.
Right.
It's a Monday. It's the big bash. Just come out, and
Sounds like a fun time.
it's going to be a great time.
Good.
You know, and like I said, live entertainment, food and fun.
Right.
I think there might be some drinks involved, and you know, just tell us how we're doing.
Sounds good. We've got Mary here with
Absolutely.
notes in front of her and props.
Ready to go.
You're
I think
read.
we actually got that question though from the caller.
Oh, we have a note?
Yes.
Oh.
They can't speak it,
There
but
is
we
a
can
note
still
here in
relay
front
it.
of me. We have a question from a caller. I didn't even see it. Woodland Skies are taking Woodland Skies venue has taken rice off the menu. Why? Do you have any idea?
I mean, we can look at that. That's an easy fix, I think, as we go through our menu and adjustments. You know, why they took it off? No. You know, I
But
think
you can
just-
communicate that
yeah,
back
that's an
to.
easy, you know, things like that. That's an easy I mean, literally
Yeah,
after
I've
this
seen.
meeting, we'll walk across
Yeah.
the hall and we'll talk to the team over
And
there.
that's another reason that we like for you to use those comment cards, because the dining services people use those comment cards to build the menus. They look at those comment cards, and every time we in the dining services committee look at them, we build a list of things. What do residents like to see more often in the dining rooms? And if you put on there that you would like to see rice on the menus, that's what the dining services people look at to build the menus. So you'll pass this back.
Absolutely, and it's another form of communication. You know, I don't think we can over communicate in this department. We use every, means of communication, be it the Village Bridge, the resident menu, Channel 6, community boards, the front desk, town halls, focus groups.
You're listening.
Yeah, I don't know what else we could do unless we just go around door to door and,
Sit
take
down,
a survey,
Sit down and set a spell.
But, the comment cards, I mean, if someone says, my voice isn't heard, maybe you're not making it heard.
Unless
Or
you're
you're not
making it heard
using
in
it.
the right places.
You're
Grix
not-
is not the place to comment on
correct.
dining services.
Correct. That's more of
Your
an
neighbor
inter-resident.
is not the person to talk to.
Right. Use one of the forms of communication, one of the avenues that we're using.
Right.
And now back to Mary.
Well,
Yes.
just to even build.
The lunch menu, not the dinner menu.
Lunch menu
okay.
does not have rice anymore.
Okay.
Aha.
Well, I also, to me, add on to that, I've used a comment card before
Good.
to say what I like at Potomac
Good,
Cafe.
and
I
comment
will
cards are for
say,
staff
they
also.
emailed me and they told me that they put it on the menu. And I'm not even kidding. It's the pulled pork at Potomac Cafe, which is being served today.
Today, that barbecue
They emailed me
pulled
So
pork.
if you
weeks
want to
ago.
meet Mary and you
I'll
want to
be
talk
at
to
Potomac
her,
Cafe at lunchtime
Yes, so will
with
I.
pulled pork. I'm
Okay.
excited. So we do read the comment cards, and I do sometimes as well, for Garden Ridge that is, because it is a good way to also figure out where do we need to put education into our dining servers.
Yes.
So a lot of times, if there's something wrong with your meal, we can, like the date is important. We can figure out who was working that day, what
Yes.
meal was it.
It's very important
Okay,
to put the
let's
date on.
go do the education to make sure that all the policies are being followed the way that we hold our standards
Yes,
to.
because things can go wrong.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we do listen and read those and
Yes.
fix our actions as soon as possible.
Yes.
So.
Okay, Mary, educate us. You're always here to
I am
educate us.
here to educate. Well, we have so many events going on that I'm really excited about.
Right.
A lot of the National Pizza Day, Pepperoni Pizza, National
Pepperoni
Grandparents
pizza.
Day. Well, September is also National Cholesterol Education Month.
Okay.
And I actually get a lot of questions about cholesterol and sodium are probably the two biggest things I get asked about. So I just wanted to tack this on to today's call-in show. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is how cholesterol is not an evil thing. It's actually the reason your body needs it. It's used in cell membranes, so your cells, it helps keep the structure nice and tight so that your cells don't dissipate and
Keeps the
keeps it tight.
keeps
So
the
literally,
wall.
yeah, it's like keeps the cell membrane wall
Oh,
strong and
who
sturdy.
knew?
So it's used for structure. It's also used in hormone production, specifically estrogen and testosterone. So very important. But of course, sometimes your cholesterol can be too high. So 80% of it is synthesized in the liver. 20% comes from your diet. So you do want to have some.
So
in
your
diet.
liver actually makes its own cholesterol.
And it's all cholesterol is stored there. So what happens is if you have too much dietary cholesterol, your liver doesn't know how to store it anymore, and so it'll start storing it as plaque buildups, and it can go into your arteries, which leads to that heart disease risk, cardiovascular disease, strokes, and then if that clot breaks, then you can if that plaque breaks in your blood cells, it can turn into a clot. So lots of risks with cholesterol, but there's a lot of stuff we can do to help it as well.
So what can we do? How do we know if our cholesterol is too high?
Great question. So blood test is your number one way to figure out your cholesterol. There are 4 different types of cholesterol. I'm only going to focus
4.
on 2. Yeah,
I
there are
only knew
4.
about 2.
Yeah, we're only going to talk about the 2 that
Okay.
dietary wise are really important, which is HDL and LDL. So high density lipoprotein, low density lipoprotein.
The good and the bad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the good and the bad. When I had to learn about this in school, I always imagined HDL happy, so that's the good one, and the LDL is low, sad, you're low.
Oh, okay.
Little things,
worked,
okay?
it
It
worked.
worked.
That
I'm
works.
here. I passed all my exams, so
You're registered.
if it helps you get it done, that's what you got to do, right? So you get it done through a blood test. And then the first thing that you would always want to do is if the doctor gives you medication, like that is what I always say when I come on this show is if you have medication, you've got to be compliant with it. So for cholesterol, it's very common, like statins, very common thing that I see, I don't want to say popular, but it is a common health challenge that we face, especially because it's passed on mainly through genetics and then also just the lifestyle habit of if you're
And statins are relatively new drug, not new to you at your age, but to me at my age. Statin, we went through many years of, well, you've got to watch your diet and don't eat this and don't eat this.
Well, diet is important too, yeah.
Diet is important, but
really important.
Thank goodness we have statins because for people like Michael, for whom genetics is a problem with cholesterol, the statins are really a lifesaver.
It doesn't help either walking around kitchens all day.
That's right.
Tasting food.
Yes.
Yeah, so take your medicine.
I do.
Yes.
Good.
So cholesterol, 20% does come from the diet. So your foods that are high in cholesterol are definitely your animal products, so your meats. Steak night.
Yeah, it's like steak night.
But don't worry, there are other good things to highlight though about steak. So yes, meats, dairy products like butter, anything that's high in saturated fat or trans fat really are high in cholesterol.
Pepperoni pizza.
Pepperoni pizza.
But I will say
anything in moderation.
Anything in
I always tell
moderation.
people moderation is good.
Right.
Anything in moderation. But once again, like something that I think that the dining committee does so well here is that yes, we do give you these foods, but we give you a variety. So it's really all up to you, your choice, your decision. You know what you've eaten yesterday, what you ate for breakfast. So like if you had a heavy breakfast, like yes, we're offering steak, but he also said we're offering salmon. And salmon is actually a really good for someone who does have high cholesterol because it offers you other benefits of that as well. So we offer a variety of foods, not just the bad
So
ones.
here's an example. I brought
an example.
Today.
This is a really good one. So this is actually something.
These are two foods that don't have cholesterol on the label.
They don't have cholesterol, but they have trans fat and saturated fat.
So we have baked potato chips and classic potato chips.
So this is the classic one. Has, I don't know, I can look at the 1.5 saturated fat, which is 7% of your daily value. And then the baked, they're just prepared differently, has 0 trans fat and 0
One of them is made
fat.
from a powder of dried potatoes, and the other ones are actually sliced potatoes.
And used in oil, and so the preparation is different. I like the taste of both of them, but like this baked is a little bit more of a crunch. They still give you that salty.
It's a lot different as far as how much fat you're taking in, and 50 calories less.
Yes, so good decision. Like so at Potomac Cafe, we offer both.
Right.
And so it really is up to you, giving you that variety. Just like all the events we're doing, they do have variety as well. So definitely trying
Anything
to
in
cater
moderation.
to everybody. Yeah, exactly. So while those meats and butters and other things, full fat things like full fat cheese, whole milk are high in cholesterol, there are foods that are low in cholesterol or help prevent building up of cholesterol. So just thinking of your plants, fruits and vegetables, whole grain like oatmeal, whole grain buns. So like if we have a cookout, we have whole grain buns, like that would be a good option. Things like that. We offer whole wheat bread in the dining rooms. So those are good things to help with cholesterol.
And it goes back to what you've told us before about when we fill a plate, what portion of our plate should be meat?
1/4 of your wrist.
The size of the palm of your hand.
Yeah, 1/4 of your plate.
So when you're asking for a serving, if you're in the cafe or the Jefferson dining room and you're asking for a serving of meat, just that palm of your hand size is how much meat you want. Yes, it's all about discipline. Yes, I read something the other day that said you would be better off to eat 80% of what's on your plate.
Well, yeah,
Which
America is known for its very large portions.
Yes.
But, it's
right. We don't need to be a member of the Clean Plate Club.
Yes. That is a habit that is built over time and takes time to undo. So also being patient with yourself.
And I think a lot of it comes from, if you look at our resident population, they were very, I wouldn't say frugal, but they didn't want to waste. So like my father was, take what you want, but eat what you take.
Yeah, that's wise.
So, you would, in moderation, but through life, you're always like, well, if I don't eat it, it's wasted, it's thrown out. And I think that you got to think what's more important, your health and well-being or maybe throwing out a couple ounces of chicken. Or
Our health has to
peas.
be number one.
Right. So,
Yes.
you know, and I know the portions.
And here we don't have control over what is served to us, so it's better to
in some
just
of the
leave it
venues,
and not worry about
But we
it.
also do smaller portions, and if you went out to a restaurant, you know, our proteins, our main courses are 4 to 5 ounces.
Yes.
You know, and then our sides are 3 to 4. So we're not really loading up the plates. I agree with what, you know, Mary's saying. Is it's moderation, it's discipline, and you know, you can get half portions on a lot of items.
That's right.
I know sometimes we have communication problems on that, but you know, there's avenues out there that you can utilize.
Yes.
And something that people may not, our residents may not know, actually their serving utensils that dining servers use are a specific measurement.
Yes.
So you may think, oh, they're just giving me a whopping spoon, but no,
No.
it's like they're
It
different
is-
sizes.
4 ounce. You've been in the
4
kitchens.
ounces,
They're a
fourth
4 ounce
cup.
spoodle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
so
it-
they're measured. So that even
Right.
the serving utensil that they choose to use is chosen with a purpose.
Right.
So we do try to pay attention to the portions that we are giving you.
Yes.
Very good.
Right. One thing I do want to remind people about is that this information that Michael was giving us comes from the monthly dining services calendar that is available in all of the dining rooms. So stop and pick up a copy of this so you'll know exactly what's happening this month, all of these events that Michael has told us about. And I think we just have a couple of minutes left. What else would you like to tell us?
You know, again, I think the big thing was I appreciate, you know, Mary's information today, and I think that a lot of it is that if you look at the menus and if you don't know, ask a question. Can I get, we talk about signature dining, you and I have talked about this for years, that one of the main avenues for signature dining is it was resident driven. Because the residents, you remember, you know, when we used to do batch cooking, that was it. Boom, here's how it is. Now, and I always say, you don't want the sauce, or you want an extra sauce, or you want it on the side.
Ask for it.
Ask.
Ask.
You know, if you don't want, if there's a stir fry, you know, can I get olive oil instead of soy sauce? Ask.
And one other thing I'd like to bring up that came up at one of our dining services subcommittee meetings yesterday is that if you have a problem with your food, if the food that comes to you is not the way you need for it to be, and the server is not giving you the answers that you need, please ask a manager. Don't sit there and be upset on your own or with your neighbor or with the server and you're not getting the right service that you need. Ask for the manager, talk to the manager. There's no reason for you to not get the food that you need.
And to add to that, our servers do a fantastic job. But I think sometimes they don't have the detailed information
Right.
that you may be asking for.
Yes.
And there's always a chef in the kitchen. There's always a manager
We
on
have
hand.
managers on duty.
You know,
Ask for them.
And ask for them. You know,
Yes.
at least say, hey, do you mind asking the chef if there's A in this or if there's B in this?
Yes.
You were at the table. We were talking about chicken and dumplings, and the gentleman said, you know, I can't eat red onions, and this one has red onions in it. Chef Giovanni literally got up,
Went and
back
looked at
in
the
and looked
recipe.
at recipes, and said, well, maybe we can pick another chicken and dumpling. We can still serve it, but you know, not saying we can always, you know, do this.
But once in a while.
And sometimes is it an individual, you know, reason? We also have to go and look at the numbers. If we have a whole bunch of residents saying, well, we like this meatloaf instead of that meatloaf. Okay, so, you know, we have options. So that's why I'm saying always ask.
It never hurts to ask.
Right.
And always ask. That's why you're
Please.
there.
That's what we're here for.
Thank you for joining us today.
you for having
As always,
us.
it's been
Yes.
education and great fun.
Good.